This is the dawn of a brand new era for iRacing. This is the dawn of the touring car era. This is where one of these vehicles will soon become more and will soon become one of the prime areas of focus when you see great racing here on Forever Sim Racing. Today is the start of that. It is media day here today at Brands Hatch Circuit because the British Sim Racers, or BSR TCR, are in full swing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are around the world. It is Jake Sperry here on the commentary for this fantastic event with Cisco Scaramuza on cameras for us here. And a massive thanks to those who get it done for us here. Firstly to Force X Design, who have been massively helpful in the graphics that we see up on your screen. Big thanks, of course, to Violet for the music that you're hearing right now. Her songs, Monolith to a Halcyon and Convergence, you can catch on Bandcamp and Spotify. And, of course, as well, all of this happened on the Forever Sim Racing platform. 3 races that you are going to be seeing here tonight, 2 15-minute sprints and 1 30-minute feature will be the cause of actions here today. But at the moment, we are currently in practice right now in the final stages of this practice session. This is the feeling out process. This is where drivers are trying to get an understanding of this brand new Audi TCR car. This is an RS3. It has been very, very well received by the communities and has been a massive push forward for everyone who wants to run and actually wants to run pretty close in the style of racing that this does offer. Of course, the British Sim Racers have a long and storied history when it comes to the iRacing service. They have been one of the premier, if not the premier racing league out there in terms of consistent numbers, building up a community, and one of the institutions, it has to be said, of what sim racing is on the iRacing service. But on top of that, you have to look at who is fastest at the moment in this practice session. And Josh Thompson in the number 42 car certainly holds that mantle at the moment and has been absolutely instrumental in terms of the way that his racing has gone. One of the premier drivers, has had a world championship license in multiple categories. He's at the top on a 131.158. Brian Holmes currently second in practice with Daniel Hunt there in third. Chris Dane currently in fourth with Johnny Brandon in fifth position. Never count out Johnny Brandon in fifth position, if that is any advice to give to any one of you. But let's talk about this car, this fantastic little car, this RS3 LMS TCR. It's very much an aggressive car. You've got to drive from the seat of your pants almost. It's a car which is very tanky, can definitely take a couple of hits, and that is part of the plan here. These drivers are not going to be giving themselves much racing room. In fact, they'll give each other probably racing room and a little bit less when they go out on track. So they're going to be right on it here today in terms of what they're looking to be capable of. One fast repair is going to be available to all drivers here as they race, as track conditions at the moment are 18 degrees out on track, 18 degrees in the air, 21 degrees out on track, winds coming in from the north at a very lazy 3 kilometers an hour at the moment. So maybe a mile or 2 per hour that I'm seeing right now, which is practically all that needs to be said. There's not going to be much of a factor from the air, not much factor from the track. It's going to be the factor of some of the drivers here today. We have a half an hour qualifying coming up to you in just half a minute's time, and that half an hour qualifying could be so vital in terms of getting this all sorted out. You have to remember, this is an open qualifying session that we are going to be seeing. That is going to mean that these drivers, once they cross the start-finish line, are going to get their final lap counted before they go over. If you're in a closed qualifying session by comparison, it'll just be you out there on your own trying to set the fastest hot lap you possibly can. And of course, any chance you go off of the circuit, attract one of those incident points which are so very much wanted to be rid of around this sort of track, you very much find that your lap will be invalidated. But in terms of practice times, they are all scored complete at the moment, and that is going to be how they write. So Josh Thompson holds the form as we head towards qualifying. Something that you will see here on qualifying is that all these drivers will be out there together once again, and this is going to be an important factor in terms of how people try and set up and test their qualifying, because you're going to see a mad scramble coming out of this pit road as everyone will now try and make that push over towards the next stage of their laps. First corner, of course, Paddock Hill Bend, probably the most famous corner out on this track. A big downhill right-hander which tests the bravery of all drivers back up the hill at Pilgrim's Rise and into the Druids Corner. Always a very interesting corner. Keep an eye out on. Back down the hill you head again and into the third corner. This is Graham Hill Bend, the legendary F1 world champion, the corner named after. And now you start making this run up towards the next section of corners. This is Surtees Bend, a very, very difficult corner. It's an inviting apex in, but it tightens up on the exit. You have to be really, really patient with your throttle application before you head now to Pilgrim's Drop under this fantastic bridge. And now you make your way towards Hawthorne's Bend and this next series of right-hand corners which snake around like a South African circuit like Fakisa, for example, and you try and find the power. Westfield Bend next up. Josh Thompson, keep an eye on him. In front of him, Cesare Rizzo just moves out of the way for him. Niels Carstensen in front of him, looks to try and get going. Then up at Jean's Curve through Dingledale and now into Sterling's Bend, this left-hander which really does hurt on the tyres once you've been going through a whole series of right-hand corners. The sudden left really does surprise you. This final curve is the Jim Clark curves. They've run through the Clearway Straight and then onto the Brabham Straight, the front straight here, which isn't really too straight and is crucially banked as well, which has that Indy feel that some certainly seem to have around this place. So the first laps will be coming in at the end of this one. A lot of drivers looking to push themselves up to a level. Currently 3 drivers trying to make a push. John Roberts, Jim Flanagan and Brian Holmes. Brian Holmes, of course, very, very strong when it comes to an MX-5. He is one of the keys and is currently scored as fast. It's not a representative lap time though, on a 1:42.1. His grid box was outside of the start-finish line, so effectively when he went through pit lane, he managed to tag himself a time and was able to get back out and going as we got ourselves a look at the 395 machine at the moment. Of course, Niels Carstensen going too wide at the moment with Josh Thompson, which is always going to be very, very scary when you're on your flying laps. Thompson goes straight by, so Carstensen in the Ren Sport Online vehicle very much overtaken by Craig's setup shop car that is going its way by, but very much able to pull on the power. But again, an early lift heading into Westfield Bend, not really comfortable, racing too close at the moment and trying to get a banker time in at the moment through 3 minutes that we have seen at the moment. And this is going to be very crucial because these drivers know any instant, and an instant can come and can be as much as a light contact for no instant points at all, still counts as a lap time invalidated. You cannot touch any other vehicle, you cannot spin, you cannot find yourself in a barrier, you cannot cut the course and go off the track in any way, shape or form. You squeaky clean to avoid those incidents here on media day. And Niels Carstensen does a 1:34.9 just to get a time in. Josh Thompson a full 9/10 of a second faster overall thanks to that. And a lot of drivers up and down the field feeling like they have something to prove here on this Sunday night. 2 drivers to keep an eye out on who definitely have something to prove overall will be Adam Barth and also one Andrew Woodhouse. Woodhouse in the 23 machine, not yet in session at the moment, but Adam Barth certainly is, of course, commentator at Apex Racing TV and has done a fantastic job with what he has done over there. And it'll be interesting to see how he will go in the number 24 machine. Of course, looking to try and get some early times in and getting some good times to work with. And of course, the team factor as well. And look at that, a big drift coming in from Adam Barth. Has to be careful about the Excite Energy car there on the outside. That's Adam McNally trying to get through and trying to gain a position, but he has a slide of his own. Those rear tyres really not liking it too much. Car, you can definitely chuck into a couple of corners, and look how shallow there Adam Barth was. He was almost looking to line up an overtake here. So I think drivers also need to be worried about how many vehicles there are out on track and actually finding space to get a clean lap in. As you can see, those 2 drivers, Barth and McNally, both tripping over each other here in this initial qualifying lap. Your top 5 at the moment are Thompson, Ayres, Beard, Jacquelette and Kellyman at the moment. So that just shows you just how tight things can be. This track will dynamically evolve as well, which is something to keep in mind. But Adam McNally, for a little moment, went up to the top of the timing stands on a 1:33.4. Johnny Brandon, though, jumps that on a 1:32.5. Those tyres do need time to get up to temperature. It does take a couple of laps. Should see those times go in. Should see drivers take 2, maybe even 3 laps here. Try and get their big, quick lap time going. Daniel Hunt in the 7 moves to the top of the timing stand on a 1:32.316. Great work from him, and very much able to get that lap time the way that he wanted to, as he now looks to try and push forward. He's got Robert Lundgren in front that probably has to work a way by it, almost like rush hour at the moment, trying to find a way through and trying to hope that he can find a way past drivers here and there and work out what is the best way to make your way around for Brands Hatch circuit. Only 3.7 kilometers, 9 turns, but of course has been a staple of British motorsport for a very long time. And in terms of touring car lineage, has certainly been very, very strong. Those 2 15-minute races are going to be very, very key. The tyres, we're expecting to go off around 9 or 10 laps into a stint. We're expecting 15 minutes worth of racing at around lap times of a minute and a half to be somewhere in the ballpark of around 9 to 10 lap races to start the racing action off. And that, of course, going to bring through quite a bit of time, as Josh Thompson has gone fastest once again, taking another half a second off, 1:31.611. Cedric Nebelshek making it at the moment a Ren Sports Online 2-3 at the moment, 1:32.036. Niels Carstensen, a 1:32.129 is good enough for the moment. But those second and third races, keep an eye on those, because we will have a reverse grid feature, and that feature will be shown directly after the opening racing that we've got going on. And these times are going to be crucial, especially grid position and race finishing position, because you want to be near the front for race 2 and, of course, for race number 3 as well. Make sure you say a good hello as well in the chat that we have here out on YouTube. Make sure that you cheer for your favorites who are out there on track and doing an absolutely fantastic job at the moment in qualifying, which is ever changing, ever ebbing, ever flowing after 7 minutes worth of action. And do expect maybe a few more drivers to try and find a way in as quickly as they can, as at the moment 35 drivers have set lap times. The slowest of them all at the moment is a 48.8, not representative, from Martin Sampson in the number 79, currently out there, scored on his 5th lap, but that will definitely not count as he finds the gravel coming through the that is the 3rd to last corner out on track, so through the Sheen curve. Always very difficult. It's an off-camber corner there. You have to make sure that you get those laps absolutely flawless, which Sampson did not do at that point in time. Thompson again going quicker and quicker, 1:31.2, a 31.7 for Cedric Nebelshek, goes quicker. Johnny Brandon, though, moves up into 3rd on a 1:31.952, and we are starting to see the differentiation in terms of time. Just caught an eye on Robert Lundgren going a little bit quicker, as does Dan Hunt move up into 2nd position on a 31.5, so time certainly coming down quicker and quicker. Brian Holmes getting a time that he is getting through, and he is doing a fantastic job of getting those times to get them through. So that is a very strong challenge at the moment, as we have ourselves a few things. We've just lost ourselves a few pictures here just for the moment. We do apologize here, ladies and gentlemen, as we go to radio for just a little bit. So this is how things are looking at the moment, as qualifying is still going on. Josh Thompson, Dan Hunt, Cedric Nebelshek, Johnny Brandon, and Niels Carstensen currently the top 5 at the moment, followed by Ashley Beard, Adam Hedgecock, Kip Stevens, Brian Holmes, and Wouter van Essen at the moment. So we do apologize for the loss in pictures at the moment. We will try and get them back to you as quickly as we possibly can. But the track, of course, is going to ebb and flow, especially with the weather conditions as well. It's a mostly cloudy track, which means this track is going to be cold. It's going to mean that times can definitely go down and get quicker and quicker and quicker, as Adam Barth has actually just moved up into 7th position at the moment out on track. Great work from Adam Bath. He has found himself in a very strong position. We're not going to be able to show you replays of anything that's going to be happening out on track here today because we found out that crashes the sim at the moment. That's not ideal, but we will try and get ourselves moving forward as much as we possibly can. So, some good times coming in and a lot of times going very well. Lorne Murray has just gone into 6th position in the number 37 machine. He's done a 1:31.9, so that is a very strong time from the Scotsman, Lorne Murray. So he will now look to try and find some times through. Looking down towards the bottom end of the top 20, you've got the likes of Dominic Savicki, who's having some good times. Robert Lundgren on a 32.5, who is looking to try and find a little bit more. Craig Harris, currently in the number 40 car, is in 13th position, a 1:32.336. 1 second, currently splitting the top 11 drivers. Just outside of that is the 55 machine. That is Kip Stevens, who is behind the wheel. So the 55 having a very good run. Kip, probably one of the legends, so to speak, of this style of racing. Definitely knows how to get going and how to really put some strong times in. As Wouter van Essen on a 1:32.060 goes into 7th position, but it is still very clearly Josh Thompson at the front with 1/3 distance scored complete in qualifying. But this is a challenge for drivers up and down this field. We got ourselves 46 drivers out there on track, 46 drivers looking to try and put their name up there and set the form here on Media Day. This will be for the championship that we're seeing on this Sunday Cup. And the Sunday Cup's worth of racing, you will see for yourself. You will see 12 race weekends, 3 races each, so a 36-round championship, so to speak. And it's going to be such a telling factor who's got the longevity over 36 races. This is technically, despite this being sprint racing, a test of endurance throughout the season, which follows the official iRacing calendar, of course, for the Michelin IMSA Challenge, which will be happening, of course, at all times of the day, which you can find yourself in as we, again, let's just have a little bit of a struggle with our pictures here at the moment. We do apologize for that one. So, for the time being anyway, it seems that a lot of drivers out on track just looking to just find a bit of patience here, just get their lap times in. Ashley Blake Hood is one of them in the number 82 car, currently being scored in 34th position at the moment. 34th out of possible few drivers here, and on a 34 flat, just needs to find a little bit of time. Of course, cars only come out for a couple of days, and of course those couple of days are going to be really telling because these drivers know that as this season goes on, there'll be strategies that come out. People will find maybe a little bit of help here and there, and it's going to help them improve and go forward and do exactly what they need to do over the course of racing action that they've got going on. So they all know and they all understand. They've got to get those times, and they've got to get those times in absolutely quickly, fantastically, and every other which way that they can. Sometimes a scrappy lap can be a good lap as well. And I think a couple of drivers will be looking to try and maybe late in the session get the time in that they need to. Maybe just trying to put in some feeler lap times out in the early goings. But of course, as the dynamic track heats up and evolves, it is going to be a lot more difficult for drivers to get in everything that they are looking for here in race number 1 of the night. Of course, this qualifying is the only qualifying session that they will have to go through and to get right. Johnny Brandon's number 5 car crosses the line to go and start a flying lap out on track. So we'll see how good these times are going to be. And it may take a couple of laps to get these lap times in. And that's going to be a little worrying for drivers who are looking to assort themselves and place themselves in places which gets those lap times up. You need to heat the tyres up. You need to make sure that those good times are going to be coming in. Daniel Brown, for example, has got himself a good time, a 1:32.1. Currently is good enough for 16th position. So definitely the evolution of this track is changing. We said 1 second a little earlier on was the difference between first 11th position. It is now the difference between first and 18th. That's just how much people are finding times, as Adam McNally is in 10th position right now. Richard Haynes has moved up into 9th and will be very happy with 9th place at the moment. Chris Daines, currently in 5th position, has been very strong in GT3 and has been very, very telling about the way that things have been going on. He's been absolutely fantastic, and I think that this is going to tell as drivers look to try and make a push forward and look to showcase what they are going to be capable of, that he may be the driver just to keep an eye out on over this on the 900 machine. So we are pretty sure that this is going to be a very, very interesting opening race, as Dan Hunt has actually gone a little bit quicker on 131.472 as things have been going on. So this is going to be one of those races that maybe I think a few drivers are going to be looking at and saying, well, this is going to be one of those which I think maybe it's going to be a feel-out race. How long am I going to go into this? I may need 9 laps. I may even need the entirety of the opening race just to try and work out what's the best position for me. How do I battle? How do I battle in these cars? Where is the limit? Because for all the practice in the world, this is still technically one of those races where the practice is going to be very, very telling for a lot of drivers. And I think everyone knows that this is going to be one that I think a lot are trying to get through and get themselves into position to try and maybe just think about, okay, well, this is where I am right now. Maybe in 3, 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks, I can be a lot further up the field once I get adjusted to this sort of vehicle. Everyone on an even playing field at the moment and making sure that it is all working out in their favor. So, for the time being at the moment, it is still Josh Thompson who is in control of this qualifying session. He hasn't had to worry so much so far. A lot of drivers up and down the field are looking to try and put some times in. One of them is the 53 machine. That is Stuart McFadden looking to try and find some times. He's on a 34.5, hasn't really set a blistering lap time as of yet. A young talent with a lot of pace underneath and is really capable of trying to get to that next level, and we will see whether that next level comes from him over the course of the racing that we've got going on. But as we keeping our eyes on those qualifying times, this is a case of drivers trying to figure out what is best for them. Whole sorts of teams looking to make things work. We've got the likes of Automech, Boosted, the likes of course, Excite Energy, got Rensport Online here. We've got, of course, Craig's Setup Shop being shown quite a bit by Josh Thompson, doing a fantastic job at the front of the field as things are looking to go through. As we have pictures at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. So we welcome you and see things going through. But for the time being, we are still in a good place at the moment as drivers are fighting and battling and still showcasing exactly what they've got and exactly what they are capable of doing out on track. But as we have seen a few drops go quick, a little bit quicker here, Brian Holmes is in 7th position. You've got Richard Haynes there in 9th, but those times are not quite improving at the moment. Steve Hefford, though, here's a driver to keep an eye out on in the number 72, just trying to find space to get a lap going. A little bit of issues for Brian Holmes as well, behind in 7th place. So Hefford maybe just keep an eye out on this. He's currently in 14th position and is in a good position. We have just lost our pictures again. We do apologize for that. So currently they're in 14th. Looking to try and find something. It may just be that we get forever Sim Racing's radio going on in terms of things going, as Josh Thompson has actually got a little bit quicker, 131.182. That is good enough to be top of the board at the moment and really just trying to wreck through and trying to get everything going. So this is going to be a really big battle for those going forward. And we do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we have found our culprit, so to speak, for the issues that we have, and it may just be trading paint. So we will apologize for that. We may have to see all these pretty vehicles look maybe a little bit not so pretty, but I'm pretty sure you want to see 46 vehicles driving out on circuit instead of maybe 46 vehicles looking quite pretty, but not really being able to see them for far too much often. As I've just caught an eye on Wouter van Essen getting a massive slide through Surtees corner. They do seem tail happy, these sorts of vehicles. It looks like these RS3s are going to be a little bit of a handful for these drivers to try and get going, to try and work out in favour. That may just be that it's going to be look at this and try and hope that these drivers just find a little bit of a medium there, trying to still find out where those boundaries are. Niels Carstensen, for example, in 15th position, is looking to try and find a little bit more in terms of times. 3:95 again looks to go around that final corner and make a push to the line. Doesn't have too much draft, does have the qualifying leader at the moment, the pole sitter, so to speak, but that was only an out lap, so this will have to be a representative lap this time by other drivers who are peppering around the top 20, could be in prime position for reverse grid positions. Jamie Ayres in the 46th, Valentino Rossi number in a 32.5 at the moment, looks pretty solid, it has to be said, at the moment. So very good positioning at the moment from him, and we'll look to try and maybe gain some positions over the course of the racing. That mid-pack is going to be so very heavily fought over. You got drivers in there like Joe Mitchell and Cesare Rizzo who will be looking to try and push through. Andrew Woodhouse has been out on track, and a 1:32.6. He's just improved and gone up to 26th position at the moment. So very much a good effort from him, as he has done a very solid job of getting up through the positions and having a strong run. So 26th at the moment is very much best here, and will be very much looking to try and gain those few positions. Not often you find him in a TCR car, of course, looking to try and get some time in for this session. So we'll see how this one pulls off for him in the future, as I think a lot of drivers now are really trying to push, and it's very, very close from about 4th position on down, 4th to 17th, just split by 0.4 of a second overall. That goes all the way down to Daniel Brown, who is currently in that 17th place. So the likes of Martin Sampson there in 13th, certainly having a very strong run, try and get going, and everyone look try and see who is the fastest man over the first ever qualifying session of BSR TCR Sunday Cup. So top 5 remain unchanged at the moment. Those times have come in early, and that's maybe where we're seeing this track heat up a little bit. You got 46 vehicles trying to go around on track, 44 who have set representative lap times at the moment. So they are all going to be fighting hard, try and make sure that those times work for them. They are trying to make sure that they get as high up the field as possible and have a path of least resistance over the course of this qualifying session. But Brown, going through the final corner, gets a little bit of a drift on and has to correct the vehicle as nicely and as neatly as possible. Does so, and we'll look to cross the line. We'll see what that time is. 32.161 best, and that will not be representative. We'll have to go out again and have another attempt at a flying lap. So got ourselves now 7.5 minutes left to go here in this session, and the battle, as we are looking to try and get back as quickly as we possibly can. So it seems at the moment Thompson leads. It's Hunt in second, Nebelshek in third, followed by Brandon, Danes and Beard. Then you got Holmes, Murray, Haynes and McNally, who round out the top 10. Worth noting there are 2 Site Energy cars inside of that top 10, which is going to be a very big battle. Only one now Rennsport Online car inside that top 10, but you have some very, very capable drivers in there. Ashley Beard, in fact, makes the third of the Site Energy team. Lorne Murray having a fantastic session, and when I sort of left this TCR or the British sim racing scene, Lorne was one of those drivers just starting to hit his stride, and seeing him in 8th position is just testament to the abilities of this British sim racers scene for bringing in drivers, developing drivers, and making sure that they are better and better and better. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to have pictures once again, and we are so very grateful for the ability to make sure that we have those pictures in front of you. It's never quite a broadcast without a couple of technical gremlins, but Jamie Ayres looking to get over the line, currently knocked down to 21st position. Like Dominic Savicki has just gained in. Adam Bath up in 16th position. Adam Hedgecock's gone up to 18th. No time then for Ayres. He will not go any quicker for the moment. So everyone now needs to find a little piece of track, a little piece call their own here, mainly because this is the time that they have to just pull away and to get those lap times up. It does take a couple laps, and when you've got fresh rubber and able to make those pushes, I think all these drivers just want to make sure that they are getting those quick laps in the very, very last stage. Just talk about close gaps at the moment. The gap Chris Danes and Ashley Beard for 5th and 6th is just a mere 4 thousandths of a second. The gap 14th, 15th, that's Steve Hefford and Niels Carstensen. That is only a gap of 3 thousandths of a second. You got Savicki and Daniel Brown, who are exactly tied on times at the moment. So 8 is Savicki just front, and that is not because of alphabetical order, because DO, of course, is a little bit later in the alphabet than DA certainly seems to be. Caught an eye on Savicki, actually. He's gone even quicker, 132.063. Good enough to move onto the 6th row of the grid, and that is 12th position. And that may just be the best place. Stuart McFadden, just in front of him, has actually gone into 13th. So drivers are finding pace late on in this session. They've got 5 minutes and under now. Try and make sure that those times are coming in. Adam Bath, for example, in the 24, he's looking to try and give himself a little bit of a time, as actually one more time goes quicker. That's Dan Brown, who's moved up into 8th place overall, and he'll be very happy with that. Adam Bath does not set a lap time that is representative that time by, but still no one seemingly can touch Josh Thompson, who is still just a shade under 3/10 ahead of the field at the moment, and found something in this Audi RS3 that I think a lot of the other drivers have not yet been able to find. As some other drivers are now looking to try and make some pushes. Peter Van Gool is one of them. He is down in 41st position, 133.5, his best at the moment. That's okay, I think, for Peter Van Gool. He needs to find just a few hundredths of a second to move past Michael Bingham. John Roberts is another driver that he'll be looking to try and get by in the number 86 machine. So we'll see what the 39 does, rounding the final corner. Very strong there through that section, going up through the power banks as he's up into 180, now hitting 200 kilometers an hour as he passes the stripe, and he does not set a lap time. So he will now look to try and find another one here. It's 3-minute warning. Will now look to try and sound. Here's Kim Stevens, the 55 in 15th place, looking to try and find just a little bit more, and more was not part of the order on that last lap. So still something needs to be done, and at the moment nobody seemingly trying to find exactly what is needed. What about Cesare Rizzo, for example? Down in 32nd place. He's been complaining about his brake, that it's not been working. Maybe needs to find a new load cell for that brake, but there is no improvement on that time. It was an outlap there, a 142.2, looking to try and get a good run up in through the Druids corner, and getting a pretty solid and nice and tight line, getting on the power nice and quickly, and this could be a good lap. It looks certainly like a good start to the lap. Good start for Dan Hunt. He's gone even quicker on a 131.2. It's still not enough. He's half a tenth back as looking to try and go through, as Rizzo has just run himself into just a little bit of a moment there over the course of that lap, and that is going to be an all she wrote there, as we kept an eye out on that one. I rating, of course, 22.45 into the wall, and that was not part of the plan. So a good lap ultimately gets squandered there, as we now have 2 minutes, and you have to get out on track now. It's a minute and a half to get around, so you feel that drivers who are looking to set some lap times, they do not have long left. Keep an eye on that 7 though. Dan Hunt rounds the final corner, looks for a little bit more. It was a 31.2 on that last run by. Has he still got tyre life to make himself go quicker? 32.3. No, he wasn't. It was a slower lap to make sure that the lap time worked. This is his last chance saloon to get past Josh Thompson. 42.7393. That's the numbers of the cars at the front of this field. A lot of them are in pit road. They will not go any quicker. Adam Hedgecock, though, is currently scored in 20th position on a 32.2. He's just 1.1 off of pole, and can he find himself anything at all? 2 tenths would move him up into 12th position. That's 8 places. That's hardly anything at all. Cedric Nebelshek looking to be out on track to set a final flying lap. Adam McNally has gone into 4th position. Johnny Brandon now in 5th place still, as he has gone to a 31.7. Josh Thompson is out there on track, and he will have one more flying lap if he is able to get this one to work. So through Stirling's Bend, onto the clearway straight, looking for Jim Clark curve, the final curve here out at Brands Hatch, rounding that corner nice and dainty in, and getting a lot of traction on the exit. moving through the gears and trying to work this beautiful, beautiful car over to the line, and it is a 1:31.9. So Thompson clearly not having the pace at the moment. Steve Hefford just behind, though, moves up into 12th place, 1:32.056, 4 thousandths quicker than Wouter van Essen, and that is very clear. Josh Thompson will not go any quicker in this session. 10 seconds remain. Who is going to be the last one over the line? And just looking back at it, it seems it's going to be very, very close, as we got a timer expiring now. So drivers have till the end of their lap. Get over and get it going. Dan Brown is going to be the first over. He's currently in 9th place overall. He does himself a 31.9. That's not good enough, not quick enough. Go through. Nils Carstensen goes quicker. 1:32 flat, only good enough for 17th place. Where is Dan Hunt? He's down on pit road. He can't go quicker, but Nebelshek can in the 393. 1:31.256 he finds time, but unfortunately he does not find any more positions on that time. It was a great improvement by Nebelshek, and he knew that it was a great time. James Leggett will not go any quicker in terms of times. Drivers out there on track, though. Kip Stevens, though, may just be the driver keep an eye out on, with 1.5 minutes for him to get his lap time in. 32.079, his best. If he can find just a couple hundredths of a second, he may just move up a couple of rows, and that could be crucial for the number 55. A very divisive character in the paddock is Kip Stevens. He makes the push to the line, and number 55 can go no quicker, is what we can see. Practically everyone is across the line. You've got Lee Diemer, who's there trying to get some times in, and maybe just Adam Bath as well, but I think that is everyone across the line as the checkered flag has gone here out at Brands Hatch. This is how this grid will stack up. So it will be Josh Thompson who will be out there on the pole position provisionally on a 1:31.182. Daniel Hunt will be alongside him on the front row. Cedric Nebelshek for Rensport Online will start third with the Excite Energy car. 2 blue cars on the second row. Adam McNally will be next to him. Johnny Brandon will start from 5th. The number 5 car, Chris Dane, will go from 6th. Ashley Beard and Brian Holmes are on row 4. Row 5, see Dan Brown and Lorne Murray go at it together. Wouter van Essen will start this one from 11th with Richard Haynes in 12th. Hefford and Savicki will start from 13th and 14th, followed by McFadden and Stevens. Nils Carstensen starts from 17th with Martin MJ Sampson in 18th. Adam Bath will prop the commentators up. He'll start from 19th, with Peter Van Gool getting a great time in the end. He rounds out the top 20. Looking further down, Adam Hedgecock starts 21st. You've got Craig Harris there getting the, what I'd say, double ducks, 22nd position. Jamie Ayres, James Leggett, Carl Jacquelet and Sean Gardner up from row 13. As you've got the likes of, say, Robert Lundgren, Andrew Woodhouse starting 29th. Likes of Ashley Blake Hood, Cesare Rizzo from 34th. Carl Hardy starting 37th. Lee Diemer 39th. And John Roberts 40th. Rounding out the field, you got likes of Michael Bingham, Steve Hansford, Richard Pocklington had the slowest lap time of everyone, but 2 didn't make a lap time, those being Reece Saunders and Mikey Key, who are those who did not get the lap time that they were needing. But the start is going to be the most crucial of them all. Drivers filling up for 15 minutes worth of action. They have 2 minutes to get up onto that starting grid, or well, you could start from the place known as Pit Road, which can always be a very interesting challenge and sometimes even the best option for you, depending on where you are on the grid, because of incident that may happen in such a large field like this one. But Thompson on the inside will know that he's just got to go defensive and make sure that he works the way that he does. And of course, we thank all of you for joining us here on Forever Sim Racing for Media Day and the first race of the BSR TCR Sunday Cup. This is where you see what your rivals have and maybe what you don't have. What can I improve? What can I learn on over the course of this racing? And 30 seconds remaining to grid up as they go through. We do apologize. We have just lost our pictures here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are incredibly sorry for this right before the start. So you will be able to get a little bit of radio as we look to get this start going on. We'll try and pick up as much as we can. We are aware of issues that have been happening over the course of the weekend for other broadcasters, not just ourselves for this one. But 2 minutes are up on the clock as the green flag drops and they get away. And it is a very difficult start in these vehicles. You don't know where you quite need to go. Someone threading the needle fantastically in the middle of the pack and already up to fourth is Chris Danes, who's done a great job. But Thompson is fantastic as he has got himself away, but he's already being challenged for the race leaders down the hill and into Druid's corner. It is brilliant work from Cedric Nebelshek, who has now taken the race lead. Thompson has struggled and may lose second position as well into Graham Hill. He's on the inside, and on the outside there's a little bit of contact there with Daniel Hunt, and he is able to get it going. These tyres are like ice to start these races. These drivers have to be so careful about the way they run it. Dane's trying to get in on this, but Dan Hunt around the outside at the second corner. There's contact, and off has gone Thompson, and off has also gone Dan Hunt, and they've gone spread eagle, and now they've got to thread the needle. This will be a long wait for Dan Hunt to get back going. It's disaster at the start on the opening race for them. The likes of Johnny Brandon, Brian Holmes, all making position through. So Nebelshek leads, Danes in second, Brian Holmes now in third. He runs wide at Hawthorns, which allows Johnny Brandon now to move up into fourth place. Dan Brown's now in fifth, Richard Haynes in sixth. Steve Hefford's car is seventh, Kip Stevens up to eighth. Ruta Van Essen is there in ninth place now, and Niels Carstensen rounds out the top 10, but he's under pressure as Ashley Beard looks to get in on this as these drivers are now tiptoeing around Brands Hatch to start. This track is cold, and they know it. They're on tyres that are cold, and they've got to get them up to temperature. Johnny Brandon can't find a way through in his battle, looking to try and get those positions. Brian Holmes is fighting fantastically, but Cedric Nebelshek is the one who's got the greatest start of them all, and he is doing brilliantly. He's got a 1.3 second lead at the front of the field over Danes. It's the battle for third at the moment, though, which is heating up and is the most interesting at the moment, as now Brian Holmes is under pressure and he defends Johnny Brandon into the Druids corner, and he's done pretty well with it as well, has to be said, as he got likes of Richard Haynes on the train. Some big gainers, though, have gone through the field, none other than Jamie Ayres and Adam Hedgecock. And saying that, Jamie Ayres has just been involved in an incident, and that will not be ideal at all. Adam Barth has caught up in it. Anthony Jacobson is the big loser in all of that, as the pack continues to scrap all around them as they need to get themselves back going forward. So drivers are struggling out on track and are looking to try and get as much as they can. One driver who's struggled is Johnny Brandon. It looks like a slowdown penalty. He's dropped right to the back of the train, and he was up there in fourth place. He is now not anymore, as Richard Haynes now starting to think about making some positions on Daniel Brown as they head through Westfield Bend, and they'll have to come back up the hill, make sure that it works for them at the moment, and they get a very, very good solid run out on track. Stevens very aggressive behind that, though. He's trying to attack Steve Hefford and find a way through. This is the battle for seventh position, now sixth position out on track, and Stevens moving to the outside, try and get that move, not quite working. Still unable to get pictures for you. We do apologize, but Stevens is trying everything to make a way through, and he gets a little wiggle coming through the Jim Clark curve, and he is unable to get going. Now, Wouter Van Essen is trying to find a way through. He's got a nose down the inside, and he will be able to pick up that position, and in fact, he does, and he gets that move position. One vehicle goes off in front of them, though. Huge off there from, I believe it was Dan Brown, and he's just got contact from Van Essen as he's come back on circuit up into Druids. That's not worked at all, and positions have been lost, and he is now behind Adam Hedgecock now. So huge amount of time lost as Johnny Brandon gets a tap from Van Essen as well. Stevens makes away past David Ayers, who is lap traffic. The gap at the front now is on 2.1 seconds. Though, as Dane's in second and Brian Holmes currently in third. One vehicle off is Richard Haynes, though, and that's at the Surtees Bend, and he will lose so much time trying to get the power back through as they fight behind. Got Carl Jacquelet and Martin Sampson. This is for about 13th, 14th position. Behind that, you got Adam McNally trying to gain positions back, along with Peter Van Gool, and Lee Deemer has been the best of the lot for gaining places. He's gone from 39th all the way up to 17th place as he fights along with Jamie Ayres and can't quite do enough. Josh Thompson trying to make positions back through the field as well. Back to Sampson, though. He's under pressure because Jacquelet is down the inside and is able to get that position and get so very nicely. Adam McNally very much in that battle as well, unable to find a way through as they get to Sterling's. But in front of that, Van Essen, who has made friends with about everybody in this field in the battling pack, tries to find a way through, and he has got past Johnny Brandon. Beard trying to get in on this, as is Carstensen trying to find this fight as this five-car pack slips up behind Kip Stevens. Two vehicles will come out of pit road. One of them's Cesare Risso, the other Daniel James. They'll both have to get out of the way very quickly. Stevens runs very close, and now they're going to try and run themselves up the hill, looking for an opportunity to try and make that move as they have allowed Steve Heffer to get away. This is the battle for fifth out on track, and this is where the main pack is. Contact behind as Risso gets caught up in it. That was Johnny Brandon who ends up in trouble. They're three wide now, heading through, and more contact as Rizzo's got to stay out of it, and Brandon's spread eagle sideways, and he'll lose the position, and that's not ideal as he goes and loses a little bit more. Not what he wanted, not what the doctor ordered in terms of this battle. For second it is on, though, as Chris Danes is 900 against the 58 of Brian Holmes. They go at it as they head themselves into the right-hander of Hawthorns, turn 5 out on track. It is about a car length's advantage for Chris Danes as they get on the brakes, as they are losing that ground, though, to the leader who has a lap traffic car in front, or gap between them. That is Cedric Nebelshek, who leads this race. Danes in second, Holmes in third. Steve Hefford currently there in fourth position, but the pack is starting to splinter a little bit. Now Adam McNally becomes the key linchpin in battling, and he's all the way down the order, still keeping it behind him. Sampson and Van Gool, and also Josh Thompson trying to come back through the field. He's in 17th position overall at the moment, and doing a great job of things right now to really showcase what he's got. Hedgecock under pressure. He battles it out with Richard Haynes. Haynes finds a way through on the inside, and he's done brilliantly. Van Essen, though, trying to get past Kip Stevens in the battle for fifth place. Down the inside he goes, but the up and under, the crisscross, trying to become the key factor for Stevens. And can he get it down the inside? He's got himself alongside, and there's a bit of contact as he goes through the narrowest of gaps to gain that position. Some great work there from Stevens as he makes a way through and gets the position that he wants to. Absolutely fantastic from him by his standards. Van Essen there in sixth position. Ashley Beard just behind now by only 3 car lengths or so, as Dan Brown is holding on to the rear of this pack as well. This is very close, side by side for second still. Holmes and Danes going at it together on the brakes down the inside, and looking to try and get an up and under. Maybe is the Excite Energy 58 of Brian Holmes. He can't quite get it, though, at the next corner being Westfield Bend, and all these corners are right-handers coming up through Dingle Dell and into the next right. That one being the Sheen curve, the off-camber right-hander, and again, still a half a car length maybe between them as they get on the brakes into Sterling's, and still struggling to find any sort of purchase on a way to try and make a position and gain some places. These cold tyres important as Samson almost finds Armco at Sterling's and coming back on track. He gets a little bit of a trouble with the limited slip diff, and he now finds himself turned around. Too much traction on that vehicle, and just like that, he drops himself a multitude of positions. He's now behind Adam Bath, which drops him outside of the top 20 overall, which was not part of the game plan, I'm pretty sure, as we are 10 minutes through the 15. There are only 5 minutes remaining here in terms of this battle. Richard Haynes trying to find a way through at Paddock Hill Bend. He's got the inside on Jamie Ayres. Ayres almost giving him a shove as they've got the 2-lap traffic cars just behind who are trying to stay out of the fracas. As again, Ayres is just bumping and bumping and bumping and saying, come on, let me through. I want to have an opportunity. But he will not find a way through, not even at Graham Hill Bend, as the racing action continues to spice up. Not at the front, though. Cedric Nebelshek holds a 3.5-second lead over the pertaining battle for second, being between Danes and Holmes at the moment, the 900 and the 58. Steve Hefford is currently in fourth. He is up 9 places from his grid slot, as Kip Stevens himself is up 10 places at the moment. Some other great gainers here has been Carl Jacquelet. He's up 12 right now, and he's holding the pack behind. He's got Van Gool and Thompson, but Thompson is down the inside. And just like that, position is his, and he has done well, and that was done at Westfield Bend, so he'll be very happy with that move as he now goes up into 13th place overall. Lucky for some, not quite so lucky for others at the moment, as lap 6 is score complete. Sorry, 9 minutes on the clock. I was reading the wrong time overall. Danes at the moment still having a good run, 3.6 seconds back, a 32-1. That last time by, not bad, and that will do. So the likes, say, of Brown, still trying to keep in that 4-car pack. For 5th place is just keeping line astern. Nally, though, has his battle, and this one going for the final spot inside the top 10. He's got that position through turn number 1, Paddock Hill Bend, and just behind him is Steve Hansford. A little bit of lap traffic, which will not be ideal at all. So Hedgecock at the moment trying to find a way back through, but he's losing time, and that gap, which was a 1/10 of a second in his favor, has now fallen to about 3 car lengths or so, which is not ideal as they head up through the left-hander of Surtees and now towards Pilgrim's Drop once again. Ashley Beard's 95 in 7th position, starting at the moment exactly where he is right now. He's trying to find a way through, and he is not quite there. And the draft is really being that factor, and for some reason he needs to just find a little bit more. For that one reason, he needs to find a little bit more even. He's just about a car length back, and he's playing that patience game, but he seems like he is dead even with Stevens in front of him and Van Essen, who is in 5th place and has been very much forceful in the way that he has got himself into that 5th place. He's doing a fantastic job of things. Brian Holmes currently still in 3rd, and he's still trying to find something more. The tyres are expected to start dropping off around this point. We're on lap 8 here, and they have themselves not long, maybe 3 laps left worth of racing action, and Holmes trying to think about the inside. The race lead is all but gone unless Nabelshek has a mistake in his Rennsport online car, and of course I'm sure that he'll be incredibly happy with the way that he is running things at the moment. Danes, though, absolutely fantastic in the scrap for second. He will not budge an inch at the moment for Holmes, who is very happy just to sit a car length back and try and find a way through. And this is the chance, because running wide slightly through the apex was Danes in the 900. This allows Holmes to go to the outside here, trying to make the move down Pilgrim's Drop towards Hawthorne Bend. Always very difficult to go around the outside in these vehicles, and gets just a little bit of room, and he's trying to force away, and he turns a little bit too much and has to back out of it there. Almost clipped the rear of Chris Danes, and that was very nearly not what was wanted. And it seems that this radio stream is very much showing case that Chris Danes is trying everything to gain to hold the position, and he is fighting absolutely fantastically up through towards Sterling's corner now, the left-hander, the penultimate corner out on track, and still next to nothing between them as they get on the power and try to head towards the Jim Clark curb. And there's a little look to the inside from Holmes, who can't quite make the move. He wasn't quite alongside enough to make sure that the position was his. The battle further back, though, for 7th place is Ashley Beard under pressure in the 95. The 22 of Dan Brown trying to round the final corner, trying to find a way through, isn't quite able to yet. At the moment, we apologize for our difficulties. Please stand by. But still looking for the inside and has to back out of it at the latest possible moment through turn 1. Paddock Hill Bend never had a nose down the inside, was never able to battle, but has a big lunge at Druids, and again, just well blocked by Ashley Beard. He's able to close the door at the last possible moment, and it's doing wonders for him. It's enough to say I'm very happy, and this battle is happening 11 seconds off of your race lead and 6 seconds off of the podium at the moment, which still stays exactly the same way that it does. It's 2-ish laps to go at the moment. It could be 2, it could be 3. You got to keep an eye on it. It could even be 1 lap to go at this stage. Peter Van Gool a little bit further back down in 14th, trying to get past Carl Jacquelet, and cannot quite find the right way to get through. There is also a massive pack developing on the bottom half of the top 20. It has Charles Kellyman at the front. It contains Joe Mitchell, Adam Barth, Lee Deemer, Jim Flanagan, Jamie Ayres, Martin Sampson, and that is the back of the train, and that goes all the way back to 22nd, spanning to 16th, and Charles Kellyman, who started this race in 33rd. Second position on, though, side by side on the run to the Jim Clark curb. Danes is on the inside. Holmes is on the outside. And it might just need to be elementary, my dear Watson, if you're going to try and make a move, because they've got Steve Hefford now on the back, who's closed in. They fought so hard. They've lost a good 2 seconds over the course of this lap. And crucially enough, this is the white flag lap. So Hefford, looking at his Momo car to the outside at Paddock Hill, has to think about the way he makes this. He needs a podium from this if he wants to get some bragging rights. Danes has fought a fantastic defense. Brian Holmes has not had an option try and find a way through, and he's looked every which way in his Audi RS3 to find a way through. He has not found it just yet. Into Graham Hill Bend, turn 3. Still nothing yet from them as they now try and move to Surtees corner, turn 4. The left-hander up the hill, and Danes, very much middle of the road, gets a shot from Brian Holmes, who bumps him in the back and says, come on, I'm trying to find every which way to go through. Now they head to Pilgrim's Drop, and immediately defensive is Danes. He is not letting anyone have the inside for the next 3 right-hand corners. Hawthorne's is the first one, but he's got to be careful about Hefford on the back of this. Holmes again around the outside, gives a little bit of contact there as they're side-by-side door rubbing as they head to Westfield Bend. Still nothing again, and Hefford might decide he needs to find a way through. And it's now Holmes who's gone 2 corners side by side, looking for his third, and he's still holding it around the outside. He's got the inside for Sterling's Bend, and that is second position for Brian Holmes. Hefford will try and get through, but it is Cedric Nebelshek who will take the victory for Ren Sports Online, the first winner of the Sunday Cup. He'll be so happy in the 393 he's got that. The battle for the podium not over. They'll go side by side to the line. Danes in the 900, Holmes in the, Hefford in the 72, but by half a car length, it will be Chris Danes who just about staves off Hefford there in a fantastic scrap between them. Adam McNally cannot get Niels Carstensen for 8th place come the end, and there are more battles out on track. Kellyman holds off the trainer, Bath and Mitchell back, as Adam Bath will get 18th, 17th and 16th for those at the moment. Some great racing up and down the field in this opening race then of the evening, and that is some good running that we've had. It's a shame that we haven't been able to show as much as maybe we would have wanted to for you, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a complete race finish. Well, a great race for the 393 machine. Confirmation of results then. After the opening race, it is Cedric Nebelshek who picks up the victory in 15 minutes and 31 seconds. Brian Holmes comes home in second, making the move on the final lap. 3 corners around the outside to make the move, and he managed to get it sorted. Chris Dane gets 3rd position with Steve Hefford there in 4th place. Ashley Beard is the driver who rounds out the top 5 with Daniel Brown in 6th. Kip Stevens gets 7th with Niels Carstensen in 8th. Adam McNally for Excites Energies in 9th, and Adam Hedgecock rounds out the top 10. Josh Thompson's recovery after an incident on the opening lap of the race is to 11th place. Carl Jacquelet gets 12th. Wouter van Essen in 13th with Peter Van Gool in 14th place. Johnny Brandon gets 15th after starting 5th. Charles Kellyman in 16th with Joe Mitchell and Adam Bath 17th and 18th. 19th for Lee Deemer. He was the biggest gainer in your field. He was up 20 places with Jamie Ayres rounding out the top 20. Flanagan 21st, Sampson 22nd, Sean Gardner gets 23rd. Drivers who struggled, Richard Haynes and Daniel Hunt get 24th and 25th after that. Andrew Woodhouse 26th for him with Craig Harris 27th. Ashley Blake Hood in 28th with Lorne Murray and Carl Hardy rounding out the top 30 overall. And then you got Dominic Vicky, James Leggett, Cody Erdman, Andy Maxwell, and Andy Maxwell, is the last driver on the leading lap. He is 34th. And drivers a lap down included Richard Pocklington, Cesare Rizzo, Daniel James, David Ayres, Steve Hansford, Anthony Jacobson, John Roberts, and drivers who failed to finish were Michael Bingham, Stuart McFadden, and Robert Lundgren for the opening race then of the evening. Just before we move over in towards next race, we will have a reverse grid for this next race, and we should be able to pull up a spinny wheel at a point in time and spin that wheel and see where that goes, as everything seemingly is not quite as it seems at the moment. We are going to step aside, though, very briefly at the moment here on what is at the moment Forever Sim Racing Radio, as we will be back with the reverse grid number, which we will find out, and next stage will come up after this. You ready, Betty? We apologise, ladies and gentlemen, for the delay. We are a lap and a bit into this second race. It was a full reverse grid, but we've just been trying desperately to fix some of the issues that we've had, and it's taken this long to get to one stage of a solution. It is John Roberts who is off of the pole. He's got a lead, but there's been some massive incidents up through the field. We've noted that there's been a 6-car pile takeout at Druids on the opening lap, along with a handful of other incidents. So John Roberts leads this one by 1.6 seconds. Anthony Jacobson in second. James Leggett is currently in third. We have no graphics for you. We are unable to show them due to the current setup, as Jacobson has just gone off in second. That's allowed Leggett to go around the outside. Sorry, no, that's Cesare Rizzo going around the outside and up into second position. Off in the background is Leggett, and Leggett has fallen behind Daniel James and behind Richard Haynes, who is now up into 6th place. He's someone definitely to keep an eye out on as he's trying to make his progress through the field. Eyes on the Belshek as well. The winner of race number 1 in the 393 finds himself inside the top 10, having started 35th on the grid. That's how strong of a start he's had. He's up to 9th at the end of 2 laps worth of racing, as there's a very hairy, scary rejoin with Steve Hefford there, who's got to get out of the way. He's laps down as Carstensen now goes 3 wide in the middle. On the outside there, trying to find a way through, was going to be Cody Erdman, and he's done very well to find a way around that. But it is John Roberts with a 3-second advantage, and he'll be very happy that he's able to just drive away from it. Anthony Jacobson running wide, bit of contact on the exit. Richard Haynes says, thank you, cookies. That's a position, and very well done there as he moves up into 3rd place. Now it's Roberts, Rizzo, and now Haynes. Moving up into 3rd as Daniel James now gets the position in the 94, moves up into 4th place. Leggett currently trying to find a way through, as well as Jacobson is desperately trying to find a little bit of medium in the tyres, and there's another position that's gone as he's now started to fall hard down the order. Carl Hardy will be next on the list, trying to find a way through, and there is also that looming gaze of Nebelshek trying to find a way through. David Ayers trying to have to defend this. He doesn't defend it into Sterling's, though. He knows that he's a beaten man. And the Belshek there in the Ren Sports Online livery moves up now into 8th position. Overall, some great work, and Haynes is already on the back of Cesare Rizzo, as Ches has to now find his fight and his resolve in the Momo Cup to try and hold everything together. Crucially, on that last lap, lost another 7/10 to John Roberts, who's really got the pace of this car in cold tyre conditions, doing a brilliant job. Track slightly hotter at 26 degrees. This will aid those tyres, but Rizzo runs incredibly deep through Druids. He's got to pinch and diamond off the corner well. He does so as Haynes tries to find a way through. James behind, having a scrap in the middle of the pack. Very interesting at the moment. Adam Barth behind him. He's got McNally, Stevens, and Kellyman having all of a fight. Kellyman unable to defend away from Stevens, who comfortably picks up a position. He's got one already on this lap, as Daniel James is starting to have himself just a few moments as he's under a bit of pressure and has, I think, lost maybe a position or so. He's lost 2, 1, 2. Oh, he's just on the back of Leggett as he tries to go through. Haynes has comfortably made a way through. So Rizzo, big under pressure at the moment. I think there was contact between them, as now James Leggett is going to try and get a way through and cannot find that way. So now it is a 2-horse race, as Richard Haynes will try and chase down John Roberts in the 15 minutes allotted, and a third of that is already gone. So Richard Haynes in the 898 with a lot of work to do to catch the gentleman John Roberts. They get on the brakes. Sterling's behind in the battle for the podium, as that is Nebelshek getting through on Ant Jacobson, and now he's up into 6th place. So brilliant work from Nebelshek. He's having a storming drive and will now look at a podium potentially, which is just in front of him, and he's only a couple of seconds off of Richard Haynes, who is right there in terms of the same level. But John Roberts, a 38 from him. It was a 32.9 from Richard Haynes. So Roberts really finding some good pace, is in complete control of things at the moment at the front, and is doing a brilliant job of holding that gap. But again, it's about the chasing pack. Jacqueline under pressure. Carstensen looking to the inside. He can't quite find a way through, as the likes of Ashley Beard on the back try to make some progress and gain some position. Sean Gardner in 15th, trying to find a way through on Kip Stevens. He can't find it in front of that. McNally trying to get past Adam Barth, and Barth's going to use all of his road tax and a bit more. Both of them run off, and Stevens will now try and pick a pocket. No, he's going to try and pick 2 down the inside at Surtees corner, but McNally's trying to find a way through the middle. Barth's going to give all the room in the world, but he runs that outside line absolutely fantastically as they make their way through Pilgrim's Drop, and I think This may just be Adam Bath, but there's the switch back to the inside from Kip Stevens, but he's not going to be able to make that move through Hawthorne's corner. Good effort, but an effort is all it is going to be overall. Dan James has lost the position now to Nebelshek, who moves up into 5th place overall. Next up is James Leggett, then Cesare Rizzo. John Roberts still leading as cloud cover starts to come over the pit straight here at Brands Hatch, this second race of 3 in the Sunday Cup, this media day at the moment, as Carstensen now tries to fight a way through on Jacquelet on the outside. Oh, he's only got one road. Try and go through, gives him a bump on the outside, a bump on the inside, and still nothing there for Carstensen as he tries to find a way through. Ashley Beard looking at this, thinking, oh, I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. Which way are you going to let me go? As he gets on the brakes into turn 1, Paddock Hill bend, and down the hill looking for an opportunity. And it's a great run there from Ashley Beard. Moves to the inside of Carstensen, who cannot defend that position. Has to go through on the inside. Gives him a bump for good measure as well. Ashley Beard through on Carstensen with a bit of brute force to try and make sure that the method's there. Leggett has lost out now to Nebelshek. That position is going to mean that 4th now is his, and 3rd will be next on the cards as Cedric Nebelshek did a 32-1 that last time by. He was the fastest man on track by a good 0.3 of a second, and already to the outside of Rizzo. Nebelshek's going to try and push this one on that outside. We've seen the outside line work, or you've heard that the outside line worked on the final lap, and he's going to try and go through, go for the big up and under, gives Rizzo the tap, which maybe Rizzo won't be too favourable to, as he is knowing that he is in a race as he looks to try and defend that position. But again, Nebelshek finding himself in a great place here to keep that battle going, as still there are battles. Chris Dane, for example, started 33rd. He's now up into 12th place, now 11th, trying to fight Carstensen, Ashley Beard, Jacquelet, Hardy, and the like, as Nebelshek moves to the outside again of Rizzo. Very strong defending, and again, he is just trying to pick a pocket down the inside, but that is Rizzo just playing some brilliant defense. He's just leaving the car on the apex and saying, up and under's not going to work, sunshine. You got to find another way to get away through. Gap for the front of the lead has come down by 0.7 of a second between Richard Haynes and John Roberts. It's now just 3.7 out on the road. There's one vehicle in between them. What will Nebelshek do? Oh, he thought about going to the inside, but Rizzo covered it very, very late there as he tried to defend. Rizzo is defending the podium with his life. He does not care about first. He does not care about second. He wants that podium, and he wants it desperately. James Leggett waiting in the wings, but this could be the chance. The door opens for Nebelshek down the inside here at Surtees corner, and he is going to go straight through. And Rizzo, you fought hard for a lap, but you've run out of luck as through goes Nebelshek now into 3rd place for Team Rennsport Online. Chris Danes having his fight at the moment with Ashley Beard. There's Niels Carstensen as well just behind that. This is the battle going on in the nether regions of the top 10 as Dane's trying to find a way through. He still cannot quite get it. Rizzo under pressure now from James Leggett, who goes down the inside. And James Leggett, you know what you've got to do now to stay with Cedric Nebelshek. You've got to leg it right now as he's got to try and get through. Rizzo may have a fight back at the Sheen curve. No chance, no dice. You're not going to find a way through. So James Leggett then gets the position, and some very solid running there from them as they continue to move on forward. But Richard Haynes versus John Roberts is the key battle at the front of the field. Has John Roberts been able to respond over that last lap? It was a 32.9, it's a 33.1, so he's starting to lose time the other way. Richard Haynes did a 32.2. He's brought that gap down by 0.9 of a second. The gap is down to 2.8, and laps are of the plenty. There's just 4 minutes remaining here in this race, and John Roberts is essentially trying to run for the border. There's going to be next to no way to try and make those positions. The battle for 4th place. Rizzo's going to come back down the inside of Leggett. Gives him all the door. Oh, they rub each other as they go through towards Graham Hill Bend. More contact, and Rizzo's going to lose one there as through will go, I believe, Daniel James back through. Jacobson finds a way through. Now Ashley Beard's on the back of the train. Leggett currently in 4th, and still Danny James trying to find a fight to get through. But again, that lead battle, keep an eye on this. Sampson has to be lapped, who is the difference maker in the middle. Richard Haynes is there currently in 2nd position, trying to chase down John Roberts, who in the Boost Ted machine has done a fantastic job. The battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th is what you need to focus on. Behind that, Hardy and Jackalette, 10th, 11th, Custon 12th, and Kip Stevens 13th. Sideways goes Jacobson, and through will go Beard, and through also will go Days, who goes to the supermarket, picks up 2 for 1, and says that's brilliant. Now Rizzo in front of them, trying to fight hard, sees the battle behind, has started to kick off. He tries to get aggressive. He will now bring them back in as he tries to get the draft going on Daniel James, but he will not quite find a way through. Daniel James has fought well here in this fight and just runs a little bit wide as they take that wider line onto that Brabham straight. Once again, gap for the leaders. Now 1.7 seconds, and there are 2 laps to go. Richard Haynes a 31.8, a 33 flat there for John Roberts. He lost 1.2 that last time by. Roberts will have to defend on the final lap as things stand. Rizzo again going down to the inside here of Daniel James, but he's got a teammate behind him, and it's Chris Danes looking to try and get in on the action here, and Danes will comfortably pick it up on his teammate. Beard's not going to get the same preferential treatment though. He's got no way to get through, and he'll drop Danes now as he tries to find a way past Daniel James. But here's Cesare Rizzo still holding on to that 5th place at the moment, and now James Leggett in 4th is still there holding well. Nebelshek started 35th, he's up to 3rd as they battle incredibly hard in the middle of the pack. You've got the likes of Jacobson and McNally going side by side at the moment, trying to make that move, and Jacobson has fought incredibly well on the outside. Sean Gardner, don't count him out. He's been quiet this race, and in front of them, who they've got to try and get by, is Adam Bath, the Apex Racing TV commentator, trying to get in, contact behind, and it's going to be full shades of sideways there for Jacobson as McNally tries to go for the middle. 3 wide, Gardner tries to take it through Dingle Dell. Are you crazy, sir? They managed to make it work, but that battle still continues. White flag lap coming surely now for John Roberts, but Haynes has really struggled over this lap. He's made a big mistake, and just like that, that gap has gone away in the fight for seconds on as Nebelshek will try and get through. It's back to 4 seconds. A big mistake from Richard Haynes was the last thing he wanted. A look down the inside from Nebelshek in the 393. Hard defense then from Richard Haynes as they go on and they continue to fight. Chris Danes is now up into 5th position as there's going to be struggles, and I believe it's Cesare Rizzo who has dropped massively back now into 12th place. He's been sent, so to speak, but still that battle for second. Nebelshek all over the back of Richard Haynes, who has lost his opportunity at the race win. He pushed and pushed and pushed, but John Roberts has held him around the outside. Now tries Nebelshek here at turn 4 at Surtees corner. He's not quite there, but has he got an overlap? Yes. Small kink to the right. It's always going to favour Nebelshek, and on that inside line, he knows that he can continue to push, get a bit of draft from the side, and now go down Pilgrim's Drop and get good on the brakes as he heads through that section. Beautiful line, and up into second now is Cedric Nebelshek. Brilliant running, but it is John Roberts who has been flawless at the front of this field, has been sensational in the way that he broke away, broke the field, and said, I may be starting from number 1, I may have finished last in that reverse grid of those who were on the leading lap, but I may be the gentleman John Roberts, but Boosh Ted are going to get a victory. John Roberts will round himself through the Jim Clark curb, and he will pick up victory in race number 2. John Roberts picks it up. Nebelshek will take second. Richard Haynes will go to third. The Leggett will take fourth, but the battle for the 5th, 6th, and 7th is on as Danes is just going to give it to Daniel James. Contact with Ashley Beard. Beard takes to the grass for the finish and will drop back to 7th. Great racing all around. Some fantastic work that has been going on there. You cannot and will not see much better than that. Some brilliant battling out on track overall, and that was well done indeed, as we will now start to get confirmation of where everyone has finished in this race. John Roberts, who picked up the win in 15 minutes and 41 seconds. Cedric Nebelshek finishes this one off in 2nd position, having started all the way in 35th. It's Richard Haynes who gets 3rd, with James Leggett 4th and Chris Danes rounding out the top 5. Daniel James gets 6th position with Ashley Beard in 7th. Carl Jackalette moves up into 8th from 24th, and Kip Stevens gains 20 positions of his own. Rounding out the top 10 is Adam Bath. A great run by him to get into the top 10, with Carl Hardy in 11th and Cesare Rizzo back in 12th. He had a strong showing despite losing positions. Adam McNally 13th, Dan Hunt in 14th position after being spun on the opening corner, which we weren't quite able to see. Sean Gardner gets 15th, Brian Holmes 16th, Then it's Kellyman, Jacobson, Carstensen who faded, and Lee Diemer rounding out the top 20 as we got the likes of Brown, Van Gool, Mitchell, Ayers, Erdman, Hedgecock struggling as we were down to 36 in this second race. Flanagan, Bingham, Maxwell, Harris, and Hansford, the last of the drivers on the leading lap. Sampson, Hefford, Woodhouse, Thompson, and also Savicki failing to get themselves in there as they get to the finish. We're going to step aside, though, for one moment here with Forever Sim Racing. We'll be back with the final half an hour after this as we get the final stages going forward. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the British Sim Racers TCR Sunday Cup. Here, of course, on the Forever Sim Racing YouTube channel. Thank you for staying with us so long through thick and thin over this weekend's worth of action. We've been scouring high and low looking for answers, and we believe we may have just got ourselves to a level where we can safely say that some actions that we've got are absolutely brilliant. This is the third heat that we're going to be seeing here tonight out of 3. It's a longer heat. It's effectively a 2 heats in 1 heat with a big, long 30-minute race to decide the best of what they got. The reverse grid for this heat has already been determined, and the number that was determined was 25. So Kana, that was in 25th position in the last race, will now find themselves at the very, very front of this field and will have to hold off absolutely everyone for half an hour. We saw how in the second heat, the second round of this media day, that we have seen how John Roberts got his boosted machine from the front and led lights to flag to pick up the victory, staving off the challenges of Richard Haynes for the longest time in that race. But whoever's at the front now has to do it for twice as long, and that does certainly make it different. And oh, hey, look, we've got a little bit of graphics here showing at the moment, which is absolutely beautiful as we believe that we've got things working nice and dandly again. It's nice to see everything working in the way that it should do. So these drivers know what they've got to do, but there is one driver who is head and shoulders above the field in terms of masquerading away through the traffic and showcasing what he's capable of, and that is 393, and that is Cedric Nebelshek, who's not on track at the moment. Drivers have 30 seconds more of practice before we take you over to the starting grid, which only has a minute to stack itself up on, so it's going to be a very lightning fast challenge for everyone to try and get correct. But it is Nebelshek who is probably the best at the moment in this field, and everyone's trying to race up to try and get to that same level. And of course, it's never going to be as easy as people say it is, as this practice session is going to come to complete. In just a couple of moments' time, we'll be able to bring you the starting grid for this third and final heat, this 30-minute race, which is going to be going on. And this, in just a moment's time, for the final race here at Brands Hatch, the darkness starts to descend on this track in Kent. This, how the grid shall stack up. So on the pole position will be Cody Erdman with David Ayers alongside. Joe Mitchell and Pete Van start second row. Lee Diemer and Niels Carstensen alongside that. Anthony Jacobson and Charles Kellyman start from the fourth row with Brian Holmes and Sean Gardner. Dan Hunt will start from 11th. He's had a torrid night of racing with Adam McNally on row 6. Row 7 is Cesare Rizzo and Carl Hardy, followed by Adam Bath and Kip Stevens. Carl Jacquelet and Ashley Beard are 17th and 18th with Dan James and Chris Daines. James Leggett, Richard Haynes, Cedric Nebelshek starting 23rd with John Roberts 24th. Adam Hedgecock 25th, Jim Flanagan, Andy Maxwell, Craig Harris, Steve Hansford, Martin Sampson, Steve Hefford, Andrew Woodhouse and Dominic Savicki make the 33, getting to this grid. Just 15 seconds and under remain before we take ourselves through the starting position, the lights on top of the iRacing gantry, and are looking to get ourselves some green flag running. 30 minutes, Erdman at the front. These starts have been treacherous all night long, and we are going to get underway in just 1 moment's time. That time is now as they get themselves going. Erdman so slow off the start. Look at David Ayres go in the middle of all of that, though. They're still going to be pushing and shoving as they look to try and find a way through. Van Gool trying to get in. Lee Diemer there on the outside is losing a little bit of ground. Joe Mitchell there trying to battle for second. It's Carstensen who's having a great run here down the inside, up in second position, but it is at the very, very front of this field. I believe it is going to be Joe Mitchell who holds control. There's drama in the background. One of the vehicles struggles in the background. That's not ideal at all. And there's one more who's gone straight along. Is that Ayres there that's maybe had an issue? I didn't quite see who that was, but big battling already at the front of this pack as drivers are already looking to try and just gain positions and find a way through. Carstensen runs wide as now here is Brian Holmes trying to go around him. Holmes getting a position, now moves up into third, trying to get past Ayres and Mitchell, who leads this event, starting from third, moved his way to the front through Paddock Hill Bend. Great work from him. Fifth position though. Carstensen under more pressure. Has he got damage here, and is he struggling with the slow cold tyres? Because there through goes Lee Diemer, who comfortably makes that position. Brian Holmes trying to find a way through now, and David Ayres, the Excite train, looking to go through. Talk about energy drink sponsors. Trying to go through. There's contact there. It is. Spread Eagle through the corner there of Sheen, and he drops 4, 5, 6 positions as they get on the brakes into the left-hand bend. There are post-race there as we have a few problems here, ladies and gentlemen, as they look to go through, as they look to try and keep on battling here out on track. On the brakes, more contactors. There's one of the Excite cars in the wall. It's Lee Dima, and in sympathy, is that going to be Ayres again? It is Ayres again, and he's Spread Eagle. Now everyone's filing left and right, trying to make sure as they go through, and that is not quite ideal there in terms of that battle as they continue on their way and try and have their fights in the early stages. As Leggett now trying to battle it out with Nebelshek. Nebelshek comfortably makes his way through already on the opening lap. He's gone from 23rd all the way to 13th. Battle still going on as Carstensen and McNally now going at it here as they scrap it out for the final spot on the podium. And can they deal with the damage at the moment? At the moment, yes, they can. So still some great battling here out on track. On the brakes they go up into Surtees corner and trying to get back on the power through. Behind that as well is Dan Hunt looking to try and get some redemption after 2 horrible sprint races. Beecher needs to work in favour as just back in the pack there is Nebelshek trying to find a way through here on Daniel James, and James now trying to play the defensive card, and he's going to try and do everything in his power. He's already been overtaken once as P5 in that battle, not quite able to make that move. Nebelshek again on the outside, just about able to get that position. That's a brilliant position that's been made. Behind that as well, Steve Hefford's just found a way through on Carl Hardy. Ashley Beard on the back with Hedgecott, Flanagan and Kellyman all looking to try and get in on this. Vehicle goes off. That's Adam Barth, the Apex TV commentator, trying to deal with all the issues he's got. There's Dan James just there, and there is Nebelshek running wide there at Sterling's Bend, and Barth's going to get that one back. Thank you, I'll have that one. As now just behind that there's Leggett trying to have to get a way through down the inside, and has he quite got there? No, not just yet. Continues to have to scrap as they go through. Gap at the front, just 1 second though between Joe Mitchell and Brian Holmes. Holmes took 0.3 of a second out overall as Carstensen and McNally continue to have their own scrap. Dan Hunt looking to try and make his way through currently in this battle going on for the final spot on the podium, 3rd position, but Carstensen is holding his nerve at the moment. One of only 2 RSO drivers to go through. RSO known more for MX-5s, as is McNally, but the battle for the lead is suddenly on here. Here comes Brian Holmes looking to try and make a move around the outside, potentially maybe on Joe Mitchell, who started this one from 3rd place. It's middle of the road driving, decides he wants to go to the inside, so Holmes decides it's time, my dear Watson, to go to the outside to take up the race lead. And there's contact there, but they save it together, and Brian Holmes takes the lead. Joe Mitchell couldn't do anything. Battle going on for 3rd now as Carstensen under pressure. Here's Dan Hunter at Westfield Bend trying to go down the inside, and he's got the position as well. All changes going on here in this TCR battle of the Sunday Cup. And he's trying to come back here as Carstensen, but he will have none of it, will Dan Hunt, as he gets the move through. Now McNally's back at it, and Carstensen again dives for the inside, and he's getting too greedy now, and he's going to allow McNally the chance to think about going down the inside. Sean Gardner, who has been very quiet, is lurking in the background, trying to find himself a way through, and more tap, tap, tap on the doors as they try to go through, and no room given for McNally. Carstensen shoved him off the track there, and a look back to the inside. Gardner now will try and take the initiative, take advantage, go down the inside, and just like that, the battle for 4th position is won. Big shove goes to Carstensen, and through goes McNally now, gaining that position. Brilliant work. Nebelshek in the background trying to find a way through on Cody Erdman, and he will move up past the guy who sat on pole position and move up now into 7th place overall. Good work from Nebelshek, who is again making that progress, but it is Brian Holmes for Excite Energy who leads this event. That gap was 2.1 the last time they crossed the line. Joe Mitchell under pressure. Dan Hunt may want in, but someone who's wanting it at the moment, McNally, gives a shot to the back to Sean Gardner, and they're going to go 3 wide here through Pilgrim's Drop, and Carstensen all of a sudden's got them both back again, and he'll be very happy with that because his teammate will jump on the train. Nebelshek has been flawless so far this weekend as he tries to pull himself back in. But still, though, it is Carstensen in control, looking to try and have this fight. McNally, they're really trying to wrench and find a way through. He recently had an MX-5 test drive, in part thanks to Excite Energy, and the work that they do. Their iRacing team has been fantastic over the last year, and two brilliant teams fighting it out together. Gardner's been sensational as well here today, and this pack just forming back. James Leggett's at the back in 12th position of this one, which is stretching back, including Hedgecock, Beard, Hefford and Erdmann, all trying to get in on the action at the moment. But still, it is this fight which continues to be the good one, as they're going to Noah's Ark this one. They'll be too wide and they'll be too deep as well. You got Nebelshek in the background trying to go down the inside, as is McNally. Big contact. Gardner's in the fence. He's caught the Armco. Now he's caught the tyres. Big hit, and that is effectively going to be day done. Take the toe, and there is a replay then up on screen of exactly what happened, and bang, thank you, ma'am. Just contact on that entry. You do turn slightly to the inside there, and the Nebelshek was never going to give him the room as they continue. McNally got the position in the end as well in the battle for the podium. To think this is a half-an-hour race, and we are only 1/5 distance through this one at 6 minutes and a little bit more, as those battles have continued. The gap at the front remains 2.3 seconds as Cody Erdmann has lost the position to Steve Hefford in the background, which has not been the ideal ploy at the moment. Gardner is still going forward, but he is behind Carl Hardy just for the time being, which puts him in 16th position, 15th position even, I would say, at the moment. Ashley Beard trying to make a move through on Cody Erdmann. He can't quite find the move in the Excite Energy car, as he's been trying to just probe away through and gain those positions. You have to give props, though, to Steve Hefford. He started 31st of 33. He is now up into 9th place as he tries to continue to make some positions. But Beard is trying everything to make a way through. Hedgecock's there in the background, but Erdmann has been fighting quite well here in the 52, just been keeping him off at an arm's reach. Round the outside, Erdmann may just give him enough room, but just like that, unable to carry that mid-corner speed, and there's one position gone. Now the draft here for Hedgecock's going to be crucial, as Carstensen's lost out to Nebelshek here, as he's actually dropped 2 positions over the course of this lap. Car off, that's Joe Mitchell. Mitchell, oh, get out of the way, boys, as he gets back. It was a very dangerous rejoin there from Paddock Hill. He was side by side with Dan Hunt, and they both went into the gravel at Paddock Hill. Hunt survived in the end. Replay on screen of that one. Dan Hunt got away with it there, as they both pushed incredibly hard. They almost locked there with a style of netcode potentially as they went through. So that there for Dan Hunt was a case there of how hard do you fight. All of this joy for Brian Holmes, who leads this event and leads it even further, as now Nebelshek has moved into 4th position overall, as Joe Mitchell has fallen back to 5th and nearly 6th, as Carstensen may want to try and find a way to go through on the inside, try and showcase what he's got down the inside. He will look here at Westfield Bend, but he was way too far on the inside. He's not going to get a chance. Now all the way through Dingledale and maybe into Surtees. They've got lap traffic as well, and that's the form of Hershon. Oh, Hansford even, and McNally is in the gravel there at the top of the Sheens curve through Dingledale. He tried to extend out. He thought he was clear. McNally was so definitely not, as we get a replay up on screen of that one. Oh my goodness me. That one all ended in disaster for McNally, and even now he's looking to get back going again, and he is now only ahead of Lee Deemer in 13th position overall. Not the plan that he wanted. Joe Mitchell side by side with Niels Carstensen as they get on the brakes. Give some room. Bit of contact to the lap traffic. Hansford, get out of the way, and Mitchell fights it back, and Carstensen's fighting anything that has 4 wheels and moves at the moment. That's how hard he wants to fight and battle and deal with everyone. Brian Holmes lead now 5.4 at the front of the field, and he is absolutely waltzing at the moment away from everybody, and he is showing exactly what he is capable of as he continues to have his battles. Nebelshek, though, in the battle for the podium, 2nd position now. He starts to look here. We're only 1/3 distance into this race. This is a long race, so these drivers know they've got to work hard. Nebelshek 32 flat that last time by, took half a second out of race leader Brian Holmes. He has the time, he's just now got to find the patience if he wants to get it through. Dan Hunt now under the pressure, under the cosh, under the collar, so to speak, as he's now in that scrap. Behind that one, 4th, 5th, 6th, Carstensen, Mitchell, Hefford, and even 7th as well with Ashley Beard trying to get in. They are all line astern, trying to just get some patience here at the moment, trying to work this one in favour as they have their own scraps and try and go through. Hefford runs wide though through Sterling's, unable to really get the power down through the clearway straight onto Jim Clark's curve. The final corner out on track, so no dice at the moment then, as Joe Mitchell able to hold on just for a little bit longer out on track, and those two in second and third may just work together here. Brian Holmes a 31.8, it was quicker, but a 31.5 and a 31.3 from the Belshek, absolutely fantastic. We're not expecting anyone to come in for a bit of fuel here in this half-an-hour race, as Hefford just behind that in the pack looks for fifth place. Joe Mitchell very much even at the moment, having a great job of fighting, but just behind that Cody Erdman under pressure. Here's James Leggett trying to find a way through, and Leggett at the moment up 11 positions of his own, trying to get past the pole sitter. Can't do it the same way that Adam Hedgecock has been able to do so at Paddock Hill Bend at the start. Big lunge though coming into the Surtees corner. Can he get the move done? For the moment, yes. Contact, no, is the answer. So he just got that bit of contact. Would have been able to stay side by side, but superior exit speed plus a bit of contact is that Cody Erdman now able to hold position just for the time being. Hefford though with the move in the 72 down the inside at Westfield Bend. Can he get the move sorted? He's left the driver of Mitchell on the outside, and he's done so well to make that move, as now Ashley Beard wants in on this one. But look at how aggressive Mitchell tries to fight back at the moment. It's almost like an episode of EastEnders as he tries to battle through, and more Phil Mitchell than Joe Mitchell, but he still can't quite get there at the moment. Ashley Beard now thinks about moving to the inside. No, he can't quite get there, so he has to stay where he is just for the time being. Brian Holmes again loses time, 0.3 of a second that last lap by, as Daniel Hunt brings that gap symbolically under 5 seconds. Does Nebelshek say, I've had enough of sitting and waiting, I want to make a move? No, he doesn't, into the Druids hairpin, as he now starts to try and think about making a move through the field and up into second position. He's thinking of the race win. Erdman though, he's all four wheels on the grass, trying to save it. Has he saved it? Yes, he has. Oh, good save, Cody Erdman. It looked for love nor money that he may have found himself in all sorts of trouble, but he's done well to save it. Charles Kellyman just behind that, although, is keeping an eye out on this battle for the final two spots inside of the top 10. Keep an eye further down the field. There are battles up and down. One of them is Adam Barth. He's up against your race 2 winner, John Roberts, who has not made progress, only 4 positions overall. He's got Chris Dane just behind him at the moment, as I believe we've only had 2 drivers fall the lap, 2 laps down and 1 out of this event entirely. That's the way it goes. Leggett under pressure though through Hawthorns, and Erdman's going to go for the up and under, looking to try and make this move. Can he make that work? Not going to get there through Westfield Bend, but running wide a little bit there is Leggett, and he's going so defensive at the moment. He is defending everything that looks maybe even vaguely like an apex right now, as again he thinks about defending to Sterling's Bend, and again not quite able to make that move, as now the battle for second starts heating up. Cedric Nebelshek looks to the outside of Dan Hunt. That gap at the front of the field has lost 0.8 of a second as they've started to fight between each other, and again big lunge down the inside, up and under, pick a pocket, why don't you? Cedric Nebelshek, Ceddy Bear down the inside, takes the position away from Dan Hunt, and just like that, Hunt's going to try and fight it back here to Graham Hill Bend, turn 3 down the hill, but he cannot find the way through. Great work from Nebelshek. He now moves himself up through, but Hunt's going to maybe have a look back here at turn 4, moves to the inside. This is what touring car racing's all about. Nebelshek outbroke himself. He gets in the grass, he saves it, he hits 5 of the 6 cones on the outside, rip cone, and now Nebelshek practically has it all to do all over again, and they've just given a couple of seconds back to Brian Holmes, who'll be very happy in his Excite Energy car that he's got that. Carstensen in 4th position under pressure. Hefford looking to the inside at Hawthorns, thinks better of it, backs out of it, and says, no sir, I will have a wait. I will say that there is a different point in time where I can make that move. That could be maybe in about 15 minutes time. Could be nice. Ashley Beard maybe just a little bit tired though of seeing the back of Joe Mitchell's 27. He may start thinking about, well, I've got to help my Excite boys out just a little bit further. I'll try my level best and try and make that move, as we see some good racing action going on here out on track. And a big hellos and a thank you to the people who get it done for us, for 4 Sex Designs, of course to Violet for the music that she's provided, and of course all of this shown on Forever Sim Racing. Still more scrapping, still more battling going on, though, as the lower regions of battles continue. Daniel James trying to hold off Kip Stevens, Jim Flanagan, and Peter Van Gool. This for 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th on the road at the moment, and for the time being it seems like Stevens has got a good run. The wily fox that he is, thinking about the inside at Paddock Hill, thinks better of it. Dan James, sharing namesake with the Manchester United midfielder, or winger so to speak, now has to try and play that defensive game. Huge lunge from Stevens. Door has to be left open there by James, and there's contact in the background there as there's Flanagan getting a tap from Van Gool, and James and Stevens now make contact through Graham Hill Bend, and that's going to force James out sideways, and through down the inside is going to be Kip Stevens to pick up the position. That was masterful work from the wily character, you could some say Jason Plato here at BSR TCR, but that was brilliantly worked. Ashley Beard has got through on Joe Mitchell, and that is for 6th position. So Joe Mitchell now under pressure from losing the back of the train at the moment, which is going through, but at the front still. Number 58, just playing the patience game, Brian Holmes. He's got Andrew Woodhouse, the Apex Racing TV commentator, in front of him, who will graciously move to the left-hand side of the circuit and say, "Go on, you Brian. I know you're much quicker than me. You've put a lap on me for all things." So he'll be very not happy to be a lap down, I would say, number 23, but he'll be certainly happy with the way that his night has gone in terms of, well, I'm racing cleanly and I'm racing very, very fairly. But Holmes at 31.9 that last time by. Dan Hunt still took 0.3 of a second out. That gap coming down to 6.1, but at the rate of knots of 0.3 a lap, it's not going to be enough. 12 laps worth of racing, or we're on lap 12 now, so 11 laps has taken 17 minutes. That's going to be about a 27 lap race that we're seeing. Overall, for everyone, they've got to be so careful about the way that they start fighting. Battle for P9, though. Charles Kellyman trying to find a way through on James Leggett here. 67 versus 66. And a little bit of grass there for James Leggett as he goes through Graham Hill Bend using all of the AstroTurf. You can do that without picking up one of those vital iRacing off-track incident points. On the brakes they go into the left, and Erdmann out of this event. Shot to the back bumper there from Charles Kellyman. This allows Adam McNally on the recovery start thinking about making a way through. Will he breeze by the Toonside boy from Newcastle here as he tries to think about getting on the brakes down the inside, and he's got the line. Has he got all of it? Yes, he has. Good move, Adam McNally. He gets the position done on Charles Kellyman, who had no response on that outside. Next up will be James Leggett for him as they continue. Carstensen now starting to check out away from Steve Hefford in the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Hefford now squarely looking backwards here at Ashley Beard, who could be the next big worry here out on track as they continue to go out here and battle incredibly hard. Ashley Beard, though, still pushing. Not going to be quite there. He's a car length back here into Paddock Hill Bend, and it's a very difficult corner to make the move here at the best of times because it takes Bravery Plus if you want to try and get that. And that, of course, is the added subscription service to Bravery, which most drivers certainly do have. So at the moment, it seems nothing quite working there for that being Ashley Beard. He has taken time and time again a lot of time to make things work. Cedric Nebelshek's taken 0.3 out of Dan Hunt that last time by, and both of them took time out of Brian Holmes. Another 0.3 Hunt to Holmes, so Nebelshek taking 0.6, the gap down under 6 seconds. Once again, they've got to push as Brian Holmes is managing the race absolutely fantastically. You could call him Captain Fantastic at the moment in the way that he's battling, as Ashley Beard now on the outside, maybe thinking of Steve Hefford, but again, didn't quite carry the corner speed well, missed the apex slightly, and that's going to cost him the run all through here as just in front of him, Carstensen runs wide, and that's going to bring back drafting range for Steve Hefford, and he'll be happy that he's got that as Peter Van Gool finds retirement as well, and he was there in 26th position as Dan James as well is there in pit road, so he's run himself into issues. Not good at all by his standards. He will not be best pleased by the way that's going. Battle going on though. McNally around the outside of James Leggett trying to get the move done for 8th place. For 9th place. Can he get it done? Or they're going to come incredibly close, perilously close between them as they get themselves into the Jim Clark curve. And Adam McNally using that experience to gain that position, and brilliant work from McNally to make that move. Leggett now under pressure from Charles Kellyman here and is weaving all over the place, trying to break some toe and hope that there's going to be no chance of making the move down the inside, and no chance there is They continue to move forward and continue to have their scrap. The next battle for McNally is 7 seconds down the road to Adam Hedgecock. It's a long battle from there. But look at Nebelshek here in the battle for the podium right now. He's there in the 393, trying to go to the outside to make this move. Often it's the more difficult place to make it. We've seen it done before. Can he find a way past Dan Hunt without losing time? At the moment, I don't think they can. The more they fight, the more they resign themselves to second and third. Another bump from Nebelshek to Dan Hunt, as now Teddy Bear looks to try and make the move down the inside, up and under, pick a pocket at Westfield, go through Dingle Dell, all the way up the hill now towards the Sheen curve, and he's got the inside, and he's got the position sorted. Well played, Cedric Nebelshek. Now we can focus squarely on trying to get to Brian Holmes in the Excite Energy car, who is a full clear way straight ahead at the moment out on tracks. Great battling there between them. Let's focus a little bit back down the field. John Roberts under pressure here with Lee Deemer. As Deemer holds off, Roberts has to run wide. He ran out of road, and that's going to cost him the position then as they head through Westfield Bend. But again, slow from Deemer through that section, and what a run. John Roberts is getting through Dingle Dell, but he runs out of road to try and position himself to the inside at the very difficult off-camber Sheen curve, and as such, will have to just stay behind for the moment. A good scrap there going on for 16th and 17th position at the moment here as they continue to try and work a way forward, and these battles certainly continuing out on track, which have been fantastic still. Carstensen, Hefford and Beard, 4th, 5th and 6th going on right now as we got ourselves just not long at all. Under 10 minutes left now in this race. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen at the moment, it's been some great battling that we've got going on as Hefford runs wide, and this is the chance, and the look to the inside from Ashley Beard. He played the patience game. You could say he was grooming for the opportunity as he goes down the inside and picks up the position and moves up inside of the top 5, and he's done a stellar job to make that work. So Ashley Beard doing wonders to make that move. Now he's got to focus on Carstensen for 4th place and hope there's dramas in front of them as Nebelshek has to try and negotiate the lap traffic here of Andrew Woodhouse, and Woody, too goody, moves to the inside, to the outside of the track to get out of the way, and does a very thorough job of it, dealing with faster vehicles around. But still, it is Brian Holmes who is in control of this one, does a 32.6 that last time by, and is in a great place here to just try and tick off those laps, because those times, yes, they may be coming down, but Nebelshek will run out of road and is simply just trying to deal with Dan Hunt behind. It has been that sort of a race that we have been looking at. But Kip Stevens now trying to get onto the back of James Leggett for the final, for 11th position even at the moment. Leggett has really struggled over this lap, a 36.6. There has been contact over the course of this lap, and Stevens is trying to get in on the action, trying to get in on the fight to make that move. Can he get down the inside to make that one stick? No, he's just managed to force the driver wide as Leggett had to leave the room, but he leaves none on the exit there for Kip Stevens. He'll remember that. He's like an elephant. He never forgets when a driver wrongs him. As wide goes Leggett as now towards turn 4 they come along here at Surtees, and can they get the chance going at the moment? No, they cannot. So still more waiting game, still more pressure, still more bites needed now at the moment from James Leggett, who now runs up the hill to Pilgrim's Drop and tries to stay in some form of a position to keep the battling going. As that happens, the battle for 4th place still continues. Niels Carstensen for Ren Sport Online trying to hold the Excite Energy car off of Ashley Beard, and for the time being, Beard is doing a good enough job here. He's just keeping himself calm and patient. Carstensen in race 1 probably made friends with everyone, did the same in race 2, make them even more friendlier. Now in race 3, as they go through, as we look a little bit further back and try and see those battles that have been going on, and it is on for 2nd position because Dan Hunt's gone around the outside here of Paddock Hill Bend. Nebelshek will fight this one down to the inside here as they continue to go through. They were too wide heading through that section, trying to run him out of road. You're not going to do that, Teddy Bear. Here comes Dan Hunt down the inside, trying to make it work through Graham Hill Bend, and now to Surtees. They stay too wide still. This is great battling. Oh, they make contact. This is stellar. And now what can Nebelshek do around the outside? He'll have the inside for the next 3 corners, mind you, as he now continues to go through. More contact between them. Dan Hunt is leading on Nebelshek now, as these two are giving everything they have to just make sure that this one works for them. On the brakes they go. Nebelshek with the inside line, but Hunt again on the outside gets hung out to dry and takes the grass and continues to Ryan Hunter-Reay his way around the outside at Westfield. This is stellar stuff. This is sensational stuff between the two of them. They've gone 2/3 of a lap side by side as they get on the brakes through that Sheen curve, and finally, I think Nebelshek's just got there. Nebelshek just has, and that was some brilliant battling between them, which Nebelshek has won the war there in terms of that scrap. Some great work between them, and you cannot fault either of them for the way that they fought. Carstensen still under pressure. Ashley Beard is just playing the patience game for Excite Energy. They're all about the points. But here on Media Day, there's no points. There's only bragging rights. And these are bragging rights that are needed. What a run off the exit that Ashley Beard has had. He's going to try and look for it as we got ourselves 3.5 minutes now and a lot less here as they start looking to push here through Paddock Hill Bend. And again, nothing there. Look to the inside, blocked hard by Carstensen. On the brakes, what can you do? Nothing at Drew as just yet. So the 3.95 of Carstensen, Club Diach, trying to go through. 3 minutes left on the clock. Now it's all about battle and how hard can you battle, really? As I'm just starting to lose my voice here slightly, trying to keep up with all of this action. Brian Helms still in control. It's all about patience. It's all about the waiting game for a lot of drivers in this field. It's spread out quite a bit through the majority of the pack. P2 continues though. Nebelshek under pressure. Here's Dan Hunt still trying to find that scrap. Number 7, Daniel Hunt, has been having a torrid time of things in the first 2 races. He wants to take something back with him as he heads himself towards the opening round of the championship in 1 week's time at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. But for the moment, Nebelshek here at Brands Hatch is doing just enough in this scrap for second as he looks to try and continue. It will be, at the moment, a trifecta of podiums for Cedric Nebelshek. First, second, and second, I don't think is too bad of a showing here in the media day, and I think he squarely puts himself up as the favourite for this one. 2 minutes left, 2 laps to go here at Brands Hatch for Brian Holmes to hold on. That gap is 6.3 seconds, and he's really just gone off the boil. A 33.2, he can afford to do that. He can afford to do 35 lap times if he wants to. Battle for 4th going on now. Carstensen under pressure. Here's Ashley Beard down the inside. They're allowing Steve Hefford back into the fight then for 4th place, and now still Carstensen trying to battle it out. No, not quite there. Not quite going to find it there. He was great on the brakes there into Druid's corner, and RSO once again have proven they've got a pretty nice setup, and it's pretty decent, has to be said. Ashley Beard still trying to get in on this one though as they head to the Surtees corner, turn 4, out on track. On the brakes they go, and still looking at this, Carstensen holding a car length advantage, but that drop becomes paramount as they head themselves up to Pilgrim's Drop, and they go up and they go down, and they look to go all around at certain points in time and show exactly what they've got. That battle for second position still there with Dan Hunt, but he's just 3 car lengths back, still not quite in a position to really showcase what he's going to be able to do as he continues to go. 50 seconds left, and this will mean that the white flag will come out for Brian Holmes, who leads this race. So now, for the time being, what can Nebelshek do to hold off Dan Hunt in the battle? Second, he's starting to pull away. Carstensen for 4th position. He's got to hold off both Ashley Beard and Steve Hefford on this last lap. In terms of other battles out on track, James Leggett and Adam Bath going at it here in the battle for now 12th position overall. And Adam Bath will want one more, and he gets it as there's the mistake from Leggett. He ran too deep, and just like that, Adam Bath says, "Cookies, that's mine," and he'll take the position as the white flag comes out. Ashley Beard thinks about the inside at Paddock Hill Bend. He will not get it though, as he now needs to think about Druids, which is arguably the best overtaking opportunity out on track. Not close enough to make that move. He'll think about the next way that he wants to get that one going as he uses the curb where Carstensen doesn't, as they go down the hill to Graham Hill Bend. Still hoping that there's something there, hoping that there's one more chance. Maybe at Surtees, we've seen people get great runs out of these vehicles. Goes for Surtees, no. Door was firmly slammed shut there by Carstensen, who said, either you go through or you wreck me. That's the question needed. Nebelshek, though, still not quite there, closing at a second a lap, but it doesn't matter for Brian Holmes. He's been fantastic over this one. Here's Ashley Beard looking to the outside. Excite Energy wanting 2 in the top 4. Same for RSO, who want a 2-4 finish. And Carstensen just pushing slightly wide there on the exit. Ashley Beard will not have that chance at Westfield Bend. He's got to do it at the final corner, the toughest place of all to make those moves. But Brian Holmes, though, he got to the front and he never looked back. He saw the drivers fight behind and they fought too hard and they cost themselves the victory. Excite Energy gets one at race 3 because Brian Holmes wins it overall. Second position for Cedric Nebelchek, and Dan Hunt will pick up third. The battle for fourth, a last gasp lunge from Ashley Beard, but it will not be enough for him. Carstensen will hold on for fourth place with him in fifth. As sixth position will go to Steve Hefford. Some great scrapping through, but Charles Kellyman has run into issues on the final lap. He made contact with Kip Stevens. They got together out of the Sheen curve, and that was the case of Stevens just giving no room there on the outside. They come together and sneaking through all of that. 2 more positions for Adam Barth, who'll be very happy as he crosses the start-finish line and gets a top 10 to finish off his night's great late positions as Leggett and Stevens go together at it over the start-finish line. The last few drivers who are making their way over. This is official classified results. So by 4 seconds in the end, it was Brian Holmes who picked up the win. Cedric Nebelchek gets second ahead of Dan Hunt. They scrapped hard all race long. Niels Carstensen will pick up fourth, with Ashley Beard going from 18th to 5th. Steve Hefford, the biggest gainer in the field, started 31st. Ends up in 6th place. Joe Mitchell gets 7th with Adam Hedgecock in 8th. Adam McNally 9th and Adam Barth making it 3 Adams inside of the top 10. I'll question where the apples are. Kip Stevens gets 11th with James Leggett in 12th, with Charles Kellyman losing out on the final lap there to get 13th. Chris Daines, quiet race from the back in 14th with Carl Hardy 15th. Gentleman John Roberts gets to 16th through attrition factor. Lee Deemer 17th. He was spun on the opening lap. Martin Sexton 18th, Jim Flanagan and Sean Gardner round out the top 20 as Anthony Jacobson finishes 21st with Richard Haynes in 22nd. Craig Harris and David Ayers, the last drivers on the leading lap. Andy Maxwell, Andrew Woodhouse and Carl Jacquelet all finish a lap down, and drivers that failed to finish include Daniel James, Peter Van Gool, Steve Hansford, Cody Erdman, Cesare Rizzo and Dominic Savicki out on the opening lap of this race. Well, that very much brings the racing action over to a close, but we are going to be able to get one driver in for interview. Cesare Rizzo joins us here in the commentary booth. Ches, safe to say that it was 3 races with very varying results.
Indeed, Jake. It's a tough one. It's really, really tough. You know, a new car, a lot of new drivers as well. Everybody's getting used to it. Everybody hasn't quite dialed the setup in yet. Some guys obviously have, because I mean they're absolutely flying. But what a joy to race this car! What an absolute joy! iRacing have done a fantastic job with this. Absolutely fantastic.
And in terms of the legacy of the British sim races, you've been around for a long time. You've seen the leaves grow on the trees time and time again with this series, and you've seen how the shift now has gone away from a Kia Optima, which has been around for years and years and years, now into this new TCR, now breathing life into this scene and seeing so many great drivers going at it. You have to feel that throughout this first season, surely you're going to see a bigger influx of drivers wanting to get in and seeing just how hard drivers are racing out there. And I'm sure that you are a testament to that in the second race, how hard you are fighting for that podium.
Yeah, I mean, like the guys that were coming up behind us, I mean, these guys are quick, really, really quick. So I knew as soon as Nebelchek was coming up behind me, I knew I had to pull something out of the bag for that. But yeah, I mean, you know, us boys have been around for a long, long time in these touring cars, so we know what it takes to defend. We know what it takes to win, and yeah, I mean, I've had my fair share. I know what it takes to crash as well, buddy. But yeah, no, I mean, in terms of the legacy, it's I mean, the BSR the Kia ran its day. And yeah, this car, as you know as well, as a community at BSR, we've been crying out for this car for a long time, and it's well overdue. And we're just glad that it's here now. And to be honest with you, long may it continue. Hopefully, maybe we get some more of these TCR cars so we can have mixed manufacturers on the grid, and mix it up a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be good getting some new faces in, some fresh blood. And still, there's some old boys about, and obviously it's great to have guys like yourself on tonight, broadcasting this, and we're so glad that you guys have come on board. I've been watching a little bit of the stream myself because I didn't finish that third race, and it's looking very, very good. It should all come together nicely.
Well, an awesome job from you, but let's talk just about 1 week's time, because we are heading stateside to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, a track which is fabled, of course, for the infamous corkscrew, and probably a maiden of a track which I think drivers know all too well, being a free track, one of the first tracks you learn on the iRacing service. But that sense of familiarity, Ches, just how difficult is Laguna Seca, especially a track which really, you can't push too hard at, because the track really does bite back.
Yeah, some of the guys, we've been putting up sessions since this car came out, and we're trying all the different tracks and everything. And Laguna was one that we did have a go at, and it's a tough track, really, really difficult to run. And I think the biggest problem that we've got is at the minute is the tire model. Those first 2 laps, maybe 3 laps, depending on your setup, is really, really difficult to be consistent, and the tires behave differently and everything. And as a whole, the corkscrew, once you get grip through or heat into those tires, oh man, it's an absolute pleasure. This thing just grips and grips and grips for days. So hopefully some guys will get to grips with it a little bit better. But I'm looking forward to a week's time when we all start this in earnest. Our team Momo is up and ready for it. So yeah, it's well, yeah. All I can say is that watch the space, because it's going to be a hell of a season.
It's going to be a fantastic season to watch. Cesare Rizza there joining us after a up and down, a roller coaster racing weekend that he has had. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, tune in 1 week's time, same time. But we're going to be here on YouTube, but it's a different track. It's Laguna Seca. Make sure that you tune into that. But we are going to call time here in terms of our broadcast. But a massive thank you to everyone who gets it done for us. Firstly, a big thanks to ForceX Designs, who have been instrumental in helping out with the graphics that we have here today. A massive shout to Violet as well for the music that you've heard over the course of this broadcast. Cisco Scaramusa has been your director, and he's done a stellar job trying to piece everything together to make sure everything works through all of the issues we've had this evening. And I, of course, have been Jake Sperry. And let's just remember that it's Nabel Shek who takes the form into the opening round of the championship. Some brilliant racing here at Brand, but Laguna Seca, a different challenge. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we all are forever.